interesting, isn't it? I mean, we can look at some stats, actually, which shows he's scored in a single season. The most he scored in a single season is 17. He's reached double figures on 4 occasions. Jamie Carragher says we sort of talk about Rashford too much. He's not that good a player, you know, comparing him to the likes of Becks and so on and so forth. So these were great players. He's not that good a player. Is that fair, though? I mean, what do you think, Darren, about the situation?
Well, listen, all of us are entitled to our opinions. Jamie, obviously, is entitled to his. I think Rashford's a fantastic player. I can only counter, you cannot really counter player to player, so I'll offer you to maybe respond to Jamie. Ian Wright, who said he joined Arsenal when he was 28 years of age, a year older than Rashford, and he obviously established himself as a legend at that football club. This might be one of the few areas where we disagree, because I think we are in a different era now to the ones where players have to watch other people opining on them at home and not have a view themselves. Jadon Sancho was in a very similar situation to Marcus Rashford, where he saw Erik ten Hag represent him in a way that he didn't think was fair to him. So he decided to speak up for himself, and then he decided to be the master of his own destiny. He went to Dortmund and he helped that club to the Champions League, and then he went to Chelsea, where he's helping that side to compete for the title, all the while United are in a mess. And I think as far as Rashford is concerned, he has decided to take it away from everybody else and say, OK, I sit here, I try to do something good, you kill me. I try to speak up for myself, you kill me. Now I'll just take a decision for myself. And I think that when there are other players, I said this to Rob last week, when there are other players at Manchester United like Antony, on whom the expenditure is scandalous in relation to the return. Harry Maguire, who has never been an £85 million player. Casemiro's been a huge drain on the club and hasn't adequately responded to the criticism, that very legitimate criticism from Jamie Carragher in relation to his performances since he arrived at the club, and other players. To hammer Marcus Rashford, to my mind, just does not seem proportionate. Now, when I say that, just one last part, just one more part, one last point. I do get the passion, the levels of passion that there are in relation to Rashford. I do get that some people, they see what has happened and that drop-off in terms of the numbers. I get all of that. I think as far as Rashford is concerned, we've seen it with other players as well. They get to it, not just footballers, but sports people. They lose their form. It happens. We've seen it happen before. It is possible for that to happen, but it is also possible to get it back with patience and time. Yeah, and United don't have that. But I feel, as with other players that have been at Manchester United, one player is the lightning rod for all of the problems that exist at Manchester United. I'll be honest with you, I'll be really straight. The other night when they lost to Spurs, I thought to myself, I'm glad he's nowhere near that. Because if he were playing, he would be the person around whose neck this situation would be hung. And I think as far as he's concerned, I said this to you on the show before, I feel he needs to be happy. He needs to go somewhere where he's appreciated, where he's not the person who's at the forefront every time something goes wrong. There are places. Okay. It isn't just...
Who'll come in from him?
I think other clubs will come in for him.
Just a few points before we get on that. You mentioned Harry Maguire as an example of somebody who wasn't worth the fee that paid for him. But Harry Maguire has received unreal levels of criticism and abuse that was so bad that his family were getting death threats and stuff. And Harry Maguire...
Not from people in studio. A lot, and I've said this on the show before, a lot of the people who sat in studio, ex-players, ex-United players, ex-players in general, it was all football related. None of it, and it was all about. None of it was about his
Harry Maguire is not reporting ill for training while he's been on benders. That's the.
But you
they're
keep
not
saying
doing
benders, that. Plural. He went away to Ireland. It was one evening. There is nothing whatsoever to suggest
it was the Manchester after defeat in the Manchester derby. There was another night at China White. There is going to Vegas. There's a huge litany of things. A lot of it.
But the word benders, the word bendings has a very specific narrative around it. it suggests that he is conducting himself in a way that is not befitting of a sportsman.
So why do you think he wants this new challenge? And I want to put two in one here, because is he conducting himself correctly as well, do you feel, at the moment? Because a lot of people have spoken about the timing of this interview that came out.
I don't think that he's conducting himself well, not just because of the timing of that interview. I think the way fans want to see how committed you are to your club and to your responsibilities is what you do on the pitch, is how you deal with training sessions, how you interact with your teammates, and how you basically view yourself as a representative of any football club, in this case, for Rashford, Manchester United, which is his boyhood team, so it should mean more. Yet where people are hearing about Rashford's commitment or his love for the club, and where it's being illustrated is on Twitter, him coming out with statements, or that interview with Henry Winter where he talks about how much he loves the club. There was that Players Tribune article about don't ever question my commitment to United. And that's amid him continuously breaking the rules at the club. So how are we not allowed to question your commitment where we're seeing that, you're not calling in ill to training when actually you've been on nights out in Belfast? You're across two managers now, not conducting yourself in a good manner around the training pitch and stuff, so both of them flag it. And the timing of that interview is disappointing because the managers made a statement. He's dropped Rashford and Garnacho. The next day, they actually train very well. So immediately, Amorim's thinking, okay, this is a good handling of the situation. Rashford's then ill on the Monday, so doesn't train, and then does this interview on the Tuesday where he says he's ready for a new challenge. Now, you think if this club means so much to you, if this is all you want, and this is all you care about, you want to actually prove your manager that this is everything to me. You've just got here. This is my life. This is my soul. This is my heart. And yet actually what he's done is say, no, I'm done with it. I want to go elsewhere. I can understand why he's disillusioned, because, United hasn't been an environment of excellence in recent history. But he is paid so well. He's the reference point of this team. He should be holding himself much better than he does. And, one of the things is, in the article he did for the Players Tribune, he seemed to suggest that because of his campaign for free school meals, that's why he gets so much criticism. And actually, I think a lot of people, including myself, have backed off criticizing him for a long, long time because he had goodwill based on those actions.
Senior players, because Marcus Rashford at the tender age of 27 is definitely one of those senior players, made his debut back in 2016. Tim, he came out this week. Listen, he was watching the Manchester derby on his television back home. Not in the squad for that game, not in the squad again midweek for the League Cup semi-final. And he comes out this week and says he's ready for a new challenge. I don't think many could imagine a player saying that kind of thing under Sir Alex Ferguson, but he's come out and said it under Ruben Amorim. If you were in charge of that team, what would your response be to a key player who, yes, is out of form at the moment, saying those kind of things publicly?
We should have a chat with him and just ask him where he thinks he's going to go. You're the biggest club you're ever going to play for. You're earning more money than you're ever going to get elsewhere, unless you're going to go to Saudi Arabia, where they're throwing money at you, but everyone's going to forget about you. No one watches that football. You should be at the prime now. You're 27 years of age. You should be in the prime of your career. Where do you think your career is going? Why haven't you rolled your sleeves up as a new manager, a clean slate? Whatever happened with Ten Hag or other managers you've been under before, this is all new. You're a homegrown player, which I don't think they should discard homegrown players lightly. But it looks like he's lost the fans. Certainly, I know the manager will be upset in coming out publicly, but the fans more so. They will come out and they will be disappointed with someone at the great Man United playing for that club. You come up there through the ranks. and telling people you want to leave that football club, I think it's not correct. I know who's advising Marcus, but it's certainly not got the right advice there.
Tim, you said disappointed there. I'm disappointed as an ex-player.
Yeah.
Like, you think, look, playing for Manchester United, we all played football, and it's the best job you will ever do. And maybe in 10 years, maybe 5 years, the way he's going, Marcus, about enjoying playing football, realising the opportunity you've got, and just giving everything for Manchester United, arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world. And as you say, you leave there, you're going backwards. Fact, non-negotiable.
I think that might be the issue, though. I mean, every time we speak about Manchester United, or anybody speaks, it goes back to Marcus Rashford.
But it's not all on him.
But that's what I'm saying. But he will feel that's what it's like. Every time we speak about him, you know, we sat on here loads of times, and for a long period, it was Harry Maguire, it's Rashford, it's back to Maguire, it's Rashford.
But isn't that part?
It can be too much.
But isn't part of it the drop-off? I mean, we saw the graphic just now. You look 2 seasons ago, best season ever, 30 goals he scored for United. 8 last season, 7 so far this. The drop-off's been huge.
100%. But what pressure gets to people, and the demand and the pressure of playing with a big club is hard. To do it for a long period of time, that's when, you know, when you see a lot of people, a lot of, you know, players that have been at the one club, you've got to take your hat off to them, because like year after year after year to churn that out and just keep going and going and going and going, it's difficult to do.
I agree.
But Marcus Rashford needs to do more.
Yeah.
But I think you've got to give the manager credit, because for far too long at Manchester United, the players have dictated what happens. I think they've got a manager here now. It's my way or the highway. Doesn't matter what you're earning. Doesn't matter who you are. Bye. And that's where. But I think he will manage the situation. And you know, when you listen to Amorim this week, I thought it was very, very good, because he didn't throw him under the bus and say, right, on you go, that's it, done. He knows I might need him 1 or 2 games between now and January. I might need him before the summer. So he's going to manage the situation.
But Tim, doesn't it say something about the culture at Manchester United? Yes, it may well change under Ruben Amorim over the next few weeks and months. When you look at what happened to Jadon Sancho, see what he's now doing at Chelsea. You look what's happened to Marcus Rashford, where he was at a couple of seasons ago. It would suggest, would it not, points to something being rotten at the heart of that club. Yeah, when talents like that have ended up where they are now.
Oh, absolutely, but they've made a change, haven't they? They've changed above, they've changed ownerships, they've changed the management upstairs of the football side, on the technical side, and now they changed the manager in the dugout.
Where does he go, though? If he does leave United, where does he go?
Well, he certainly don't go anywhere like Man United, does he? And the biggest problem they've got is where does he go for the same money? Good luck to Man United trying to get rid of him. It'd be very difficult. They're praying that Saudi is still there, and they want someone to come like that. They're the ones with the money. They're the only ones who are going to take him off their hands. If I'm Marcus, I'm saying, I'm going back and knocking on that manager's door and saying, Ruben, I want to do it for you. I'm going to try. I want to knuckle down. I want to show my best, because he's got all the characteristics to play for Ruben Amorim. When he played in that game, before he played that game at Ipswich, I mean, it means nothing, but I stuck him in the fantasy team. I said, this is the man, Marcus Rashford, will set him alight. And when he started like that, I watched him play in the second game, and not running around and not doing anything. I took him straight out of the team. I couldn't trust him. Yeah. I couldn't trust him to be that man. Now, that can't be good. Now, if I'm not trusting him, the manager's seeing him every day, and he's certainly not trusting him. He's the one he needs to trust.
And he's not
only looking at what he's doing on the pitch. What he's looking at the whole package of these players now. He's seeing how they behave. He's doing loads of due diligence with them. And I'm suggesting Marcus is not behaving correctly, but he's not doing something right for that manager.
How's that fantasy team getting on?
Well, come on. Well, right, let's go back to talking about Manchester United. We will talk about Marcus Rashford and what happens next in terms of him. But in terms of the present, Sue, Amad Diallo, I think, was your player to watch right at the start of the season, all those months ago, back in the sunny climes of August, and here we are nearly at Christmas. I mean, Sunderland fans, they won't need us to tell him about what he did when he was on loan there a couple of seasons ago. I think he got 13 goals in 27 Championship appearances. He was always a player. They're currently in negotiations about a new contract as well. When you look at what he did against City in the Manchester derby, that late winner, but almost single-handedly was the match winner on the day. When you look at the Ruben Amorim rebuild that lies ahead, is he now such a player for them that he sits central to those rebuild plans?
Just seems to really fit, doesn't he, with the way that Amorim wants to play. And he's only 22 years old, but it's just how positive he is, whether he's dribbling with the ball, whether it's that looking up, playing the ball forward, whether it's making runs. His movement's great. And like I say, I just think he fits the way that Amorim wants to play his game. You know, it's a great effort with the header, but you can see that he's a very good passer of the ball. he's brave. He wants to beat his man. And yeah, against Manchester City, you thought it was just going to be Manchester City were going to win the game 1-0. We were going to move on from there. But, you know, this is brilliant just to anticipate what's going to happen. You think, could he have played the ball inside? No, he knows exactly what he's doing. He knows that Nunez is coming back, going to bring him down.
Just has that little quick look, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that's outstanding, the movement to get himself in that position. Then it's a tight angle to finish. So he's a quick runner, but he's also quick in thought, and I think that's been key for him. But he's gone from obviously being a squad player, showing glimpses, to now he is one of the main men under Amorim.
And Dors, we've sat here many times, and listen, we're not the only ones who have criticised the lack of intensity from United players, the lack of commitment in so many games. In terms of those two things, is he now the benchmark?
100%. And I think Erik ten Hag must be looking and sitting at home now thinking, why didn't I utilise him a lot more? I think as soon as Ruben Amorim's come in, he's made him, he's put him straight in the team. And ultimately, Tim touched on about midweek when he wasn't playing. I was delighted sat at home because that's how good I regard him, because you got the Spurs and you're getting rested in the quarter-final. So, yeah, he's a big player for Manchester United.
Well, he made an immediate impact on Thursday when he comes on, didn't he?
Yeah, 100%. 55 minutes he comes on and he changes the game because he plays with intensity, he closes people down. And I said early on in the show when we were showing the goals that Manchester City conceded, he runs in behind. And what defenders... I was a defender, I didn't want someone running from the right-hand side, straight in behind someone play. He runs with pace, and when he gets in these positions, he's making the right decisions at such a young age. I mean, it seems like he's been around a lifetime. I mean, he was at Rangers in, was it 2021 season, Boydie? Then he went to Sunderland and did great, and now he's had to be patient. And as I've said, Ruben Amorim has made him. It looks like in the big games he's going to play. And ultimately, he didn't class Thursday as a big game, because if he was... We saw him last week at Manchester City. I saw him live. Both ways, he runs as fast forward as he runs back. And we can't say that about attacking players. It's easy running forward because you've got a chance of scoring. Yeah. But defensive side, if you're playing Amorim's team, you expect both sides. And you get that. And as you said, he's the benchmark that people have to look at. At such a young age, he should be looking up at people above him.
Well, that says a lot about the rest of the players, doesn't it?
Yeah, nowhere near what good enough.
I think those two loan spells, because of the size of clubs and the magnitude of those two, where he's been in loan, you know, Sunderland and Rangers, he's had to play under pressure. Yeah. You know, the fans demand, and I think that's helped him go back to Manchester United as well, because his performance, he's playing like one of the older, experienced guys.
And I liked it the other week when him and Højlund were having a disagreement after one of the games. Maybe he should have passed him. It was the wrong decision because he had a chance, but he wasn't backing down. He knows he's a big player in that dressing room at the age of 22. And I think that just shows probably where Manchester United are. At 22, he's classing himself that the senior players are probably not doing it in the right way. Someone has to be, Boydie.
Well, let's come on to one of